Some people seem too quiet. Have you noticed? They listen more than they speak. They observe more than they give their opinion. And when everyone is arguing, they just smile, as if they knew something that nobody else noticed. They don't explain themselves, they don't defend themselves, they don't expose themselves. And yet, there is a force in them that the whole world feels but doesn't understand. We live in an era that teaches us to show everything: life, faith, pain, even the heart. But there is an ancient wisdom almost forgotten that says otherwise. Not everything that is true needs to be said. There are secrets that God entrusts to those who have the maturity for silence, and it is in what you don't reveal that lies the power the world cannot steal. Jesus knew this. Often when crowds surrounded him, he would remain silent, not because I had nothing to say, but because what is holy cannot be explained. The secret is the dwelling place of the sacred, and only those who have learned to keep their feelings to themselves discover what God reveals in silence. Today you will understand why heaven speaks softly to those who have learned to listen slowly, and you will discover what is divine in the art of remaining silent when the world demands noise. Because there is power in the invisible, and sometimes the greatest sign of wisdom is simply not telling. There are people who speak little, but carry oceans within their hearts. We live in a time when everything is exposed: emotions, plans, wounds. But there is a secret wisdom in those who choose silence. Not everything that is true needs to be visible. Some things lose their power when they are said too soon. The wise person doesn't hide, they protect. He understands that the secret lies within the soul, and that silence is sometimes the only place where God can still speak. The world calls it a mystery. Heaven calls it maturity. There is a time to be silent and a time to speak. Ecclesiastes 3:7. But it seems we forgot the first one. Noise became proof of worth, and silence a reason for distrust. But it is in silence that the Spirit blows loudest. God never needed shouting to be heard. Few people know, but in Jewish tradition, silence was called shetika, about wisdom. They used to say, "Those who talk too much break down the walls of their hearts. And when the walls fall, the enemy enters." To guard is to protect the sacred that is still being born. He who knows when to be silent holds the secret to peace. Not all silence is absence. Some silences are strategic. There are blessings that only survive in anonymity. Speaking too soon is like opening the cocoon and killing the butterfly. God works in silence because the divine matures slowly. And faith, when exposed too early, loses its roots. Guarding what God has shown you is like protecting a flame from the wind. While the world talks, the wise man gathers. While some announce, the prudent wait. Because the right time to reveal it is part of the miracle. And those who trust wait in silence. The early Christians called the place of private prayer the crypt, the secret chamber where heaven listened and the world ignored. There, words were unnecessary. The heart spoke in whispers, and God answered in the unseen. Talking too much is like opening windows on a stormy day. The rain comes in and the peace goes out. But those who close their mouths and guard their hearts maintain their presence. Silence is the hiding place of faith. And what is kept with God, the world cannot steal. Faith grows where noise dies. God rarely speaks aloud. He speaks in detail, in delays, and whispers. That's why those who live in a hurry don't understand the secrets of heaven. Mystery is the way God teaches trust. The secret is the language of the divine. An anxious soul demands an explanation. A mature soul learns to wait. Silence is the test of faith, because it is in it that the invisible is revealed. Those who endure not knowing discover what only God reveals. The rabbis called the mystery sod God's secret. They believed that wisdom was hidden within pride. For the proud want to dominate, but the humble want to understand. Only a bowed heart understands what God whispers. Revelation is a prize reserved for those who know how to wait. Mystery is not punishment, it's care. God does not hide things to frustrate, He keeps them to protect. If He hasn't shown you yet, It's because He's still shaping you. The secret is God's timing disguised as silence. And silence, sometimes, is the sound of creation in progress. What God hides today, He will reveal to you tomorrow as a miracle. How many times have we missed out on something because we spoke too soon? One project, one love, one promise. The enemy doesn't need to attack. He only listens. And what is revealed without discernment becomes an easy target. Some victories are born in silence and die in the spotlight. Even a fool is thought wise if he keeps silent. Proverbs 17:28. Talking is easy. Discerning is difficult. The tongue hastens what the heart has not yet understood, and too many words are the shortcut to error. Silence, on the other hand, matures intention. The ancients said, "A wise man guards a secret like a treasure," because whoever talks too much loses power over themselves. Words are like seeds. If planted in the wrong ground, they won't bloom. But if stored at the right time, it yields an eternal harvest. Not all silence is empty. Some silences are fertile. Speaking is a way to release energy. To hoard is to concentrate power. That's why those who talk less tend to win more. The voice falls silent, but the purpose grows. And when God decides to act, the secret becomes a testimony. Today's silence is tomorrow's victory. Jesus knew the value of secrecy. After healing him, He would say, "Don't tell anyone." It wasn't fear, it was wisdom, because the divine does not need to be displayed. Power that seeks the spotlight loses its purity. He responded with parables, not explanations, because mystery nourishes the spirit while haste dries it up. Jesus taught with pauses, with glances, with gestures. His silence spoke louder than the shouts of the crowd. Power lay not in words but in presence. The parables were known as doors to the secret. Each one of them concealed a spiritual key. Those who searched in haste saw only the history. Those who sought with their hearts saw the revelation. Jesus spoke little, but everything He said remained. On the cross, He proved the power of silence. He didn't defend Himself, He didn't explain, because the innocent do not need to prove their purity. His silence was the most powerful answer ever given to the world, and even today its voice still resonates. The silence of Jesus was the sound of redemption. What is kept with God is safe. The enemy cannot attack what he does not know. Therefore, secrecy is a form of spiritual protection. Not everything needs to be told. Some miracles only last if they stand between you and heaven. The world teaches us to expose. God teaches us to preserve. The soul that withdraws flourishes. What is shown too much dissipates. The secret is the invisible wall of the wise, and the strongest wall is made of silence. In Hebrew, secret isod also means alliance. Keeping the covenant is honoring it. God entrusts mysteries to those who know how to keep them, and everything that is kept with love, time reveals in glory. The secret is loyalty disguised as silence. Those who speak less listen more. Those who keep it understand it better. Noise distracts, quiet reflection reveals. There is power in remaining hidden until the right time. God honors those who do not seek the spotlight. What the world ignores, heaven exalts. To say everything is to gradually lose oneself. Whoever hoards concentrates power. The soul that knows how to contain itself finds peace. Silence is not emptiness, it is energy at rest. And whoever masters it, masters himself. Not every ear deserves its inner self. Jesus took 3 disciples to the mountain, not 12. Even he knew how to limit access to his own privacy. Wisdom lies in discerning with whom to share the invisible. The secret is the boundary between the soul and the world. The monks called this hesychia, the silence that heals. They said that noise steals the presence of God, and that silence is not escape. It is communion. Those who live like this live in balance. Quietude is the altar of self-control. Today they call it emotional restraint. The Bible calls it prudence. The heart of the prudent retains knowledge. Proverbs 10:14. A mature soul doesn't need to justify itself. She speaks when necessary and remains silent when wise. And it is in this silence that true strength is born. Silence is not absence. It is wisdom breathing. Everything that is profound is silent. Love, faith, pain, healing, everything is born in secret. What is shouted into the wind is scattered. What is whispered to God remains. The secret is the sanctuary of that which is eternal. The wisdom of those who guard is a reflection of those who trust. They don't need to be understood, they need to be faithful. The world seeks explanations, God seeks intimacy. And the more you protect what is sacred, the more heaven reveals to you. The secret is the shadow where God manifests himself. The early Christians called this communion mysterious, the mystery between the soul and God. It wasn't a secret because it was hidden, but because it was too precious. What is holy is not displayed, it is lived. What is divine is kept in the heart. At first, the secret seemed empty. Now you understand. It was God dwelling silently within you. The secret is the language of those who love without proving it, of those who believe without showing, and those who live without needing to explain. Silence is the hiding place of those who trust. In the end, you understand that silence was never absence, it was always presence. God wasn't distant when he was silent. He was nurturing you in the unseen realm. The words you didn't say, the pain you didn't tell, and the prayers that only his heart heard. It was precisely in these soils that heaven planted what now flourishes within you. The wisdom of those who guard lies not in fear, but in trust. They are not silent because they are hiding. They are silent because they know that God's timing speaks best. While the world wants to show off, the wise person prefers to preserve, and what is lived in secret becomes eternal. Because what is too pure to be displayed is what God himself chooses to protect. Silence is the language of those who have already understood that explanation changes nothing. Those who truly know you don't need to hear it, and those who don't understand wouldn't understand even if you told them. Therefore, the wise person chooses silence, not as an escape, but as freedom. And in the silence, he finds God looking back. To guard what is sacred is to guard one's own heart. The secret is the dwelling place of presence, and when you learn to walk with God in silence, the voices of the world no longer have power over you. Because those who walk in peace don't need to be seen, they only need to be genuine. If this message resonated with you, subscribe to the channel and walk with us. Here, each video is a reminder that faith doesn't need a stage, that the soul grows in silence, and that God's love is revealed first to those who know how to keep the unseen. The secret is the altar where silence meets the divine.